everyone, and welcome to Kickin. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Randy.
And today we have a very fun video planned. Today we are going to be discussing iconic cars from films. Now this was actually a video suggested by one of our viewers. Hi Jeff. So be sure if y'all have videos that y'all want us to do, put it down in the comments. We'll take a look and hey, maybe someday soon we'll put one up.
And it is equally as important that we are coming to you from the place where cars reside, the Kickin Garage. Welcome back to the Garage family. We're glad that you're here.
All right, let's start things off. I am going to be keeping the notebook today while Dad will be talking a little bit more about the cars since he probably knows a good deal more about cars than I do.
I'm the color commentary today.
All right, so first off, we have our honorable mentions. As usual, we have 5 of them. First up, we have the 1970 Dodge Charger RT from the Fast and Furious franchise.
Now, you may think that this really, because there's 80 gazillion Fast and Furious films, needs to be higher up. But just wait until you hear some of these cars that we're going to be talking about today. The Charger is a classic. Even when it got brought back in the, I want to say the early 90s, I can't remember for sure, but the Dodge Charger has always been that quintessential muscle car, and driven in the Fast and Furious like a madman. So it's one of those cars that you can't help but love. It's fast, it's furious, it's the 70 Charger.
All right, next up, we have Eleanor, the 67 Shelby GT500 from Gone in 60 Seconds, specifically the Nick Cage version.
Yeah, the Nick Cage remake of the film. Yeah, this might be one that you're not quite as familiar with, because while they talk about Eleanor through the whole movie, you really don't get to see Eleanor until later, after the halfway point. So it's a phenomenal car, a 67 Mustang. You can't go wrong with a 67 Shelby.
All right, next up we have the 1955 Plymouth Fury Christine.
This was the freakiest movie I think I have ever seen in my life. I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. Please, if you are, props. I mean, the dude can write scary stuff. Okay, Christine is one of those particular, actually short novellas that he wrote that got adapted for screen, and the car is just, well, the car is magnificent to begin with, but this car reanimates itself. Freaky. It's one of the few horror films I've ever seen. It is one of the only horror films that I've seen that I actually enjoyed. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the car was just so cool. And it was alive, which is a theme in some of the other films that we'll talk about today.
Up next, we have the Mystery Machine from all the Scooby-Doos.
Raggy. This is one of those. It's iconic just because it's been around since the 60s. It is this van. I'm not even sure how to describe this van. I'm not sure what make or model it is.
It's a hippie van.
It's a hippie van. So yeah, just get on with it, Zoinks.
All right. And our last honorable mention is the 76 Ford Gran Torino from Starsky and Hutch.
The striped tomato.
Starsky
and Hutch. They nicknamed it the striped tomato. It was that car that it and a handful of others identified the 70s, and I can't remember if they came out of the 80s or not, but Starsky and Hutch driving around in the Gran Torino with that almost Nike-looking stripe or swoop. It was just incredible. Go back and stream Starsky and Hutch. Actually, a pretty good detective show. The car adds. The car becomes part of the character in that television show.
All right, and now on to the top 10.
The top 10! You thought those cars were cool? You ain't seen nothing yet.
All right, at number 10, we have the Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters. It is a 1959 Cadillac Meteor ambulance.
Who knew? It was just cool that these guys adapted an ambulance for their car. And then even better, it came about in just so beautifully done in the new Ghostbusters film, Ghostbusters Afterlife. This car, while sort of background in the original films, really became part of the film, a character in the film in the Afterlife movie. It is iconic because it's easily recognized, and the sound that sucker makes would be good enough to scare off any ghost. So that's number 10, the Ecto 1.
All right, up next we have the General Lee from Dukes of Hazzard. It is a 1965 1969 Dodge Charger.
You just ain't whistling Dixie. So we love this car. Another Charger on the list. Do you see a trend? We aren't necessarily Mopar fans around here, but we have to say the contribution that Dodge made with the Challenger, with the Charger in the 60s and 70s was monstrous with these muscle cars. Absolutely incredible cars that really just began to get their due from their time period. This one happened to be a 69, and realistically, they don't jump over creeks and other things while whistling Dixie. So this was a stunt car. I believe they had 5 or 6 of these cars originally made. I think only one is the only one that still exists. The others obviously crashed and burned, so to speak. But an incredible muscle car that really, from the outset of the Dukes of Hazzard, became a character in the show.
All right, up next we have the Bluesmobile from Blues Brothers. It is a 1974 Dodge Monaco.
It's a cop car, okay? And which sets up the irony of the movie because you pick me up in a cop car. So it's just one of those things. As Jake is getting out of prison, Elwood is there to pick him up in a police car. Sets the stage. The music is incredible. While this car takes a little bit more of a background role, it is still, especially in the chase scenes towards the end of the film, absolutely wonderful.
All right, at number 7, we have the Batmobile, specifically the one driven by Michael Keaton in the 1989 film.
The 89 film identified, it was the first Batman film since the campy versions of the 60s, which also had a really cool car. That the Michael Keaton Batmobile identified and kind of set up the stage for all of the incarnations of the Batmobile after it. It was an incredibly powerful car with all the gadgets and gizmos of a Bond film, plus a few. I should say the Bat gizmos and Bat wheels and bells and whistles. So, incredible car. Who knows what kind it is? It's just one of those. It's the Batmobile. So leave it at that. Great car. Michael Keaton looked great in it as the original Batman. The original Batman from my generation on. Adam West, you will always be Batman driving in that incredible car.
All right, at number 6, we have the 77 Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit.
What a great car. This also, from the outset of the film, sets the car up as a character. It is, everybody wanted one of these cars. I had a 1980 Camaro and was just wishing I could do the Firebird thing on the hood sometime. Just because it was Smokey and the Bandit, and I hadn't even seen the films. That's the thing about this car. It was easily recognizable from Smokey and the Bandit, even though you'd never seen the films. Brought back for all of the incarnations of the film, and driven by one of the coolest actors ever, the late Burt Reynolds, with his Tom Selleck mustache, or he had the mustache and then Tom Selleck copied him. I'm not sure which one happened, but you could not deny that coolness out of that Trans Am black, which is the only color a car should be. Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit. Absolutely incredible.
All right, up next at number 5, we have the Bullitt Mustang. It is a 68 GT Mustang.
Now, I confess, I've not seen Bullitt all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces, mostly the chase scenes that everybody has seen, but the King of Cool, Steve McQueen, is in this film. We talked about him just a little bit with the film The Great Escape and some other things that he's been in, but the ultimate in this film. This film was the Bullitt Mustang.
This car is so popular that an episode of Blue Bloods is wholly devoted to the main detective tracking down the stolen Bullitt Mustang.
The stolen Bullitt Mustang. Steve McQueen became the king of cool driving the Bullitt Mustang. It's a great cop show. On my list to watch all the way through sometime when I get the chance. Great car. 67 Mustang.
68.
Thank you. 68 Mustang.
All right, coming in at number 4, we have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Now, we've talked about this car before, and to see a little bit of what we said, check out the card up here above my head. It should be there. It is our recasted episode of Chitty Chitty Bang
It's one of our, I tell you what, one of our most viewed episodes of Crossing Kin is the recasted of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Again, Ian Fleming came up with this car. Yeah, Bond guy. You bet. So, you know it had to be cool. Flying, floating, and driving. This car does it all.
It's the phantasmagorical machine.
It's a phantasmagorical machine. And it's cool that the Roadster that it was built off of was just a classic motor car of its period. It looks cool just driving. And if I recall correctly, Peter Jackson owns one of the original Chitty Chitty Bang Bang prop cars and drove the Hobbits around New Zealand in it.
They're fantastic videos. Go find them on YouTube.
What a happy time we'll spend. So, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is our number 4. Fell in love with the car as a kid. Always tried to find a Hot Wheels or a Matchbox car that looked sort of like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I don't know that they ever made one, but I found a couple that were close to that convertible Roadster. Incredible. Big part of my life. So, love you, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
All right, coming in at number 3.
Here's the top 3. You thought all these cars were special. You got the best ones coming up.
We have Herbie. He is a 63 Volkswagen Beetle from the Love Bug.
Peace, baby. This car, I can't tell you what the Love Bug shows mean to me personally. It was one of the first films that I saw at a movie theater, and the sound of my dad's laughter echoing all over that movie theater. Hello, Joy Theater, Ball Knob. You don't exist anymore. Sorry. But anyway, the sound of my dad's laughter still resonates to this day. Kristen has his laughter. It's one of those things that is a very, very nostalgic thing for me personally. The movie is ultra cool. Dean Jones in the lead role, and then Herbie is the character. I shouldn't say Dean Jones even had the lead role. Herbie had the lead role. I always wanted one of these VW Beetles just because of Herbie. Well, I've got a Miata now, so close enough. But anyway, just the storyline, the coming to life of Herbie in this film. He's a character, and a car that has character is a great car for a movie. Be on the lookout for Herbie the Love Bug on your favorite streaming platform.
Disney
I'm sure it's
Plus.
available at Disney Plus. And watch how cool Dean Jones really is in that film.
And Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett's the comedy relief, but they just really do a great job. The casting was exquisite, and the car is one of the ultimates. Here at Crossing Kin, my kids know who Herbie is.
Yes, we do. Coming in at number 2, we have the Aston Martin DB5, also known as the Bond car.
You knew it was coming. You knew. If you've been in the Crossing Kin family for very long, you knew it was coming. This is the second Ian Fleming car that we're mentioning because he is so descriptive in the original Bond novellas that you know the DB5. You know that Bond drives it. Some of the movies, I have to confess, when he did not have an Aston Martin of some sort, they were a little off-putting. You're like, where's the car? You know.
Where's your car?
Where is your car? Come to find out, if you read other Bond canon, in my opinion, it's parked in a garage somewhere. He basically kept the DB5 for later use. And so it's one of those... It's just one of those cars that's easily recognizable, From Russia with Love, I think is where it was first. I don't know that we saw it in
Dr. No.
Dr. No. Thank you. I don't know that it appeared in Dr. No, but after that, the car became part of the storyline. You were always waiting for the Aston Martin to show up in whatever variety it might have been. As long as it was an Aston Martin, again, James Bond kept that car company alive for all of these years. And Miss Broccoli, please, please, please make sure our new Bond drives an Aston Martin.
DB5.
A DB5, if you can.
All right.
Number one.
We've reached
now,
number one.
If you've been a part of the Crosskin family for a long time, you may have thought, well, wait a minute, how can you top the Bond car? Because we absolutely love James Bond. We love Herbie. We love Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. We love a lot of these iconic cars. But there is one, number one, that in our opinion is the greatest movie car of all times.
The DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Okay, I know you're sitting there saying...
Again, our first Let's Recast It, here above my head.
Yeah, we didn't recast the car.
No.
Because you can't do the Gold Wing DeLorean...
any better than it was done.
Any better. With aluminum... I mean, the whole thing that Dr. Brown goes through explaining why he chose the DeLorean. Now, there has been some whisperings that the DeLorean Motor Company was going to try and make a comeback and redo that car. But you hadn't seen it yet. You hadn't seen prototypes or anything yet. But don't forget for a second, while Marty McFly and his family were the primary roles in that film, the car has such an important part to play. It is without a doubt the thing that gets you from one scene to another in some cases. And it's a DeLorean. You know, back in the day, especially when that movie came out, the DeLorean car, you rarely saw them. There weren't that many of them made. They're quite the collector's item now, even. And if you find one with a fusion reactor in it, be careful. But that DeLorean, going, the doors open up on the sides. That was, unusual. Aluminum body or stainless steel body. Just incredible all the way around. The shape of the car, it really, really, you don't have Back to the Future without the DeLorean. And we need Back to the Future. It's a great movie. All three films, the DeLorean played a huge part of them. And it was pulling a couple of Chitty Chitty Bang Bangs too, and flying and yeah, great Scott. So what a car. What an incredible car. Now, you probably can think, oh, Randy doesn't know what he's talking about with cars. I don't. I honestly don't. I know that I love cars. I have a passion for especially movie cars because they're cool. The cars place such a huge, huge impact in so many of the iconic films that have been around for the past 50 years. And even if you go back even into some of the 30s and 40s films, take a look at some of those automobiles. They were automobiles of their day, and they were incredible, incredible films with cars in them. Now, cars are not everything, except for maybe Christine. But cars do become characters in films, and we can't say the importance enough of picking the absolute right cars. Our kudos to those guys who are the prop masters behind all of these films, because they really did an incredible job of identifying an iconic car to match with an iconic films that we love. So
that's our list.
What do you think? Did we miss some? I think we probably did.
Probably. We did our absolute best when compiling this list, but honestly, some movies we haven't seen, so let us know what iconic cars from films that we missed and leave that down in the comments below. And be sure to like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you are notified every time we upload.
We hope you've enjoyed this. Please let us know. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Should the DeLorean be the number one film car of all time? We think so. It beat out the Bond car. Wow. So, yeah, from the Crossing King Garage, where all cars should live, we want to say see ya.
Bye.
Glad you're part of the family.